You can't choose the family you're born into, but you can choose the family that you marry into. Sometimes the family that you do choose can totally surprise you, but not always in a good way. Today on rLounge, prepare for the big reveal. Up first, curtain call. Am I the a-hole if my cousin goes hungry? Let's introduce the cast of characters and hopefully make things clearer. There's me and my significant other. There's my cousin, 1, their significant other, and their 2 children ranging in age from 7 to 9. My aunt, my other cousin, 2, my other cousin, 3, and his son, who is 18. Cousins 2 and 3 are siblings. We are all 40 and over. All have jobs except for the kids, the 18-year-old, and the aunt, who is retired. We've decided to plan a family reunion for 4 nights and 5 days. Cousin 2 paid $1,500 for the cabin and left the planning and buying of food to me and Cousin 1. Cousin 1 has not helped financially at all. That has left me and my significant other to buy the food. Because I knew it would fall on us for several months now, we've been buying food little by little when we buy our groceries. We estimate we will spend close to $1,000 when it's all said and done. We aren't planning elaborate meals, but buying food for 10 people for 11 meals adds up. Cousin 2 is well aware Cousin 1 isn't helping with the food and that it's just me and my significant other paying. Cousin 2 continually reminds me that we have an 18-year-old man coming and he eats a lot, and that we need to make sure we have enough for him. I explained I bought a package of 40 hamburger patties. Even if all 10 people eat 2 hamburgers apiece, there will be 20 hamburger patties left. I also said we are planning on 5 pounds of ground beef for spaghetti and another 5 pounds for chili. There will also be sides like rice or salad or cornbread or garlic bread. I've planned like that for every meal, plus there will be bread and peanut butter and jelly and cereal. I can't imagine there won't be leftovers that he can eat if he gets hungry. He's still insisting that's not enough food and we should buy a couple of rotisserie chickens, and Cousin 3 suggested we buy ramen for his 18-year-old son. Cousin 3 and his son haven't financially contributed even a penny towards this, nor do they have plans to pay for anything. I'm flatly refusing to buy extra food, and after the 10th text message, I finally told Cousin 2 that since Cousin 3 and his son were getting a free vacation if the food provided isn't enough, then he can starve. I might have also called them moochers to have the gall to suggest foods that I could buy for them. So am I the a-hole for being stubborn and refusing to buy something as cheap as ramen? Ask for an opinion, you'll get it from the community. Karen Ronnie says, Info. Why aren't the others contributing? Not the a-hole. From what I can see. If you've planned well and they want extras, they should bring them. Wind River 7 says, Not the a-hole. I'm surprised that the moochers are invited and allowed to attend. They should be pitching in or stay home. You will need to keep the food under lock and key because the entitled moochers will take what they want and eat everything they can grab. You're absolutely not being the a-hole. How the hell can he expect someone to eat so much food? I think you're offering more than enough food. Anything more would be a total waste. Cousin 2 is absurd. If they want more food, they can either help out financially or bring food of their own. That's honestly not too much to ask. Update. The entitlement just continues to grow. Family member that hasn't contributed wants to invite another family to join us. You can see my post history for a recap of what's going on and what I'm complaining about. Short recap. We're going to a cabin in the woods for a vacation. It's a family trip with extended family, several cousins, a couple of kids, an aunt, and a significant other. One cousin paid for the cabin and left the planning and buying meals to me and another cousin. The other cousin has not helped buy anything. Literally nothing. We're talking probably close to $1,000 of food bought, and he hasn't paid not one penny. Won't Venmo me money, won't buy stuff on his own. Constant excuses. Last night, he messaged me and the cousin that paid for the cabin and said he wanted to invite more people. The cousin that paid for the cabin said no, was actually polite about it. I've seen the texts. And the one who hasn't contributed a dime is now flipping out because he was told no. I'm just dumbfounded at this point. I don't have a lot of family left. That's why I was biting my tongue about the ones not paying towards this trip. But I'm just shocked that someone who hasn't contributed a dime to a trip thinks they can invite 4 other people and gets upset when told no. The community has some more reactions. MouseChick69 says, if he won't pay, he can't join, period. Unless people stand up for themselves, they will be walked over. Actual Wheel 6703 thinks, exactly, don't complain, act. He would be uninvited and blocked. Who needs to be around family that acts in this manner? Needless stress. No Proposal 7628 chimes in. I have a feeling the uninvited family of 4 is going to show up to the cabin with nothing to contribute except 4 mouths. Your mooch cousin will not accept that he can't invite anyone else. DOP replies, thankfully that can't really happen. There is a guard and a gate, and they won't be allowed past it. I am the Lizard Queen 666 adds this to the conversation. I strongly recommend that you text or email the mooch to say, cousin number 1 paid X amount of dollars to rent the cabin. I spent $1,000 more for food. There may be additional costs, and you will be expected to pay or not participate. This is not a free vacation for you. Do not invite anyone. Send me X amount of dollars via Venmo within the next insert time frame, or you will not be included and will not get through the gate. This is your final notice to pay your fair share. The OP replies, he's well aware how much we've spent. This is par for the course for him, unfortunately. Cindy Svensson says, I think this is the perfect time to uninvite them. Yeah, honestly, if they are in such a huff about it, you can remind them that they don't have to come. If they want to see other family members, they can do that on their own time and host with their own money. No means no. Update. I was asked to give an update, and I've gotten a decent following, so here's your update. Would love to know where my followers came from. Our weekend is almost over. The last of the family leaves tomorrow, so I figured now would be a great time to give you guys the update. Quick recap for those that don't want to click on my post history to read the backstory. Cousins had a great idea to do a family reunion over Thanksgiving in a cabin in the woods. Not everyone was pulling their weight financially, and then one wanted to invite extra people. Said person got a bit butthurt when he was told no. Well, the cousin that wanted to bring extra people did not bring them, and he actually bought groceries. There was a group list going, and he stopped before he got to the cabin and bought everything that was on the list that hadn't been bought yet. Then, 2 days later, we had to make a grocery run for more food. Several people had the munchies, and that was a decent bill, and he paid that. He also helped with the cooking and cleaning, so in my eyes, he pulled his own weight. The cousin that brought his brother and nephew, they spent the entire time high and drunk, but they weren't annoying. So while I personally don't see the point of what they did, I'm not going to complain. Plus, we'd wake up in the morning and he always made something like cookies or prepared food for the day, and he was great at emptying and refilling the dishwasher. Only one kid came. We had a blast with that said kid. My significant other had fun as well. For me, I was pleasantly surprised. I had a great time, and it was really neat to see my daddy and my cousins. From mannerisms to facial features, to the one cousin who is covered in fur from head to toe. It's been hard on me since my dad died, and for reasons that would fill a book, I didn't grow up with this side of the family. So I had a great time reconnecting with them. We had a family meeting where we came up with a budget and how much each person needed to contribute to keep this thing going. The plan is to do the same next year. I'm supposed to call tomorrow to see about reserving the cabin for next year. Let's check in to see how the community wraps this one up. Mayuki M says, this is a great update. From your other posts, it looked like it was going to be a real crap show. Glad it went well. The OP replies, I absolutely counted on a crap show, so I was pleasantly surprised. Fancy Introduction 60 thinks, wow, OP, that's a great outcome. I thought it would end up being a total crap show. The OP says, you and me both. I was anticipating major issues, and I kept reminding myself that my significant other and I could just up and leave since we live so close. But thankfully, it never came anywhere close to that. Oh, that's such a pleasant surprise. I'm so glad everything worked out. Planning things with family is so hard and stressful for, no reason at all. I wish that one cousin had just said that he had intentions of helping out all along. I feel like that would have alleviated some stress and some hard feelings. Have you had experiences like this with family? Tell us your stories below. Up next, shedding light on a certain stigma. My ex-colleague's entitled wife costs him his job and their marriage as well. Posted this on Am I the A-hole before, but was removed for some reasons. Backstory. My former colleague has had trouble keeping up at work, often misses his project's deadline, collaboration between mine and his team, because he refused to stay back. Wife didn't like him to do so, and had more than once showed up unceremoniously at our workplace, hurling insults and screaming for her husband to come home ASAP, to deliver any urgent project. Also for context, this isn't a common thing for us, staying back after hours. Only happen when a project is due delivery and the company compensates OT and meal allowances, us for the after hours. During company's dinner, she sarcastically said to me, "Oh, you're the woman who is always on someone's husband's business." Just because a few weeks before that, I insisted for him to stay back and finish his part of the project, after his team leader didn't manage to do so and asked me for help. I shut her down as politely as I could and told him whatever relationship issues he has with her shouldn't be any of my problems. So I made a complaint to HR, and apparently this isn't the first complaint about his incompetence due to problems with his wife. HR is at their absolute limit this time. We are at year-end appraisal. I know, it's weird, but it just so happened for this company. They do in November, and we get our business by end of December. And HR has been gathering not just his team, but also pretty much the entire company about his performance. While this is not a conglomerate, it's still a pretty solid 300 plus staff. HR also tracks his involvements in every project we have had this year to see if we had caused any blockage that led us to bleed money. Suffice to say, it's not looking very good for him. Due to this, he has caused 2 late deliveries and 1 client's refusal to renew a contract. The blockage from his side has also led to a high turnover for his team. 3 junior engineers left because they can't stand his work ethic, as they were the ones who had to pick up his slack. So yeah, he was asked to leave. Well, story hasn't ended yet. The next week, the wife showed up at work causing a ruckus, yelling and screaming who made her husband lose his job, and she ran straight to the discussion room I was in, barged through, and started calling me a colorful array of insults. Not only that, she tried to tackle me, but security did tackle her first. She destroyed a few office furnitures during her rampage and slammed one of their interns' laptops on the floor. When they tell you no wrath like a woman's anger, well, this is the description for it. Police were called, etc., and she was locked up. What I heard from other teammates is that the wife is the super jealous type and has been controlling his money as well. So when he broke the news, she pretty much got enraged that they're not going to be able to sustain her lavish lifestyle. Wife is a stay-at-home. Lucky thing is they have no kids. So now my ex-colleague went from just losing his job to being faced with charges of property destruction, possibly also looking at instant termination, because he was there all along when his wife was yelling at everyone at the office. He was the one who tapped his access card and let her in. Yesterday, a colleague told me he moved out of his marital home and is filing divorce from the wife. I guess years of encouraging his wife's entitled, controlling behavior is finally biting him back in the butt. Edit. Dude worked for 9 years before he was asked to leave. He had been married to his wife for the last 6 years. I'm not the first one to complain about him, and the complaint is about his wife meddling again in his work responsibilities. Just because somebody is in an abusive relationship, the company is not responsible for their personal life. Plus, 6 years being married to her, and in that run, multiple colleagues have extended their sympathy and to try to help him out. Even a manager has once allowed him to stay at his place after the wife threw him out of their home due to some tantrum relating to work. He ended up going back to her, so yeah, he has been encouraging her behavior, all these while I don't say this lightly as someone who has been in an abusive relationship as well. Victim blaming? We are all adults and expected to have some sense of personal responsibility. Comment saying company punished him for refusing overtime is stupid as well, and I don't know if your workplace tolerates blockage in project pipeline the way you can refuse work when it's your responsibility. This is not picking up extra shifts from Walmart. This is picking up your slack, or a teammate's slack when an entire team has to stay back just so we could deliver within deadlines. While the company for sure could have handled it from the start, teams are expected to teamwork it and do your due diligence. There's been instances where some people didn't stay for personal obligations, and it's understood by the company. However, when this guy stayed back due to his slacks, it's a 70% chance his wife would show up and throw a tantrum. We are all executive level and above here. Most companies don't compensate you for overtime work, but ours did with meal allowances and hourly pay. We are not America here. Our labor law is different. We are paid a solid monthly salary. Companies discourage overtime just because you want to make extra money. Claims of overtime has to be submitted with proof of work and signed off by the manager's team leader, which is me and another guy. This hyper-individual culture from these comments are getting way out of hand. I don't know where you guys work, but heck, if you're allowed to do whatever crap you want just because you have a long-running personal issues. And anyways, not America here. Our law is different. He was asked to leave, not immediately terminated. The grace period after you're asked to leave is 2 weeks for handover, hence why his access card is still activated. Some response from the community. Chiquita Banana Kush says, has been controlling his money as well. Yeah, he was in a domestic abuse situation. Sadly, guys don't get as much compassion as women. It's extremely difficult to figure out until it's too late. Disney Dork 1 thinks, that's what I was thinking while reading so much of this post. I was like, the guy needs to divorce the wife. The OP said, I agree. The wife is absolutely a vile human being, if she can be called a human at all. Well, we do hope he fares better now that he has filed for divorce, but I understand the company's point of not having him as an employee anymore. Tina Webmom says, this poor man. The courage it took to leave her. Sadly, there's not much help out there for abused men. We need to normalize this conversation. Men do get abused. We have no true way to gauge the percentage. By normalizing the conversation, we will then be able to know the percentage. Men need to be able to reach out for help, therapy, and escape. This is actually quite sad. This man seems like he's really trapped in an abusive relationship, and it really has cost him his livelihood. I don't think his job performance is all his fault. There was clearly things going on behind the scenes that caused the quality of his work to deteriorate. It's definitely not easy to reach out when you're going through issues. And I think there's certain stigmas around men facing mental health issues and abuse that really stops them from coming forward. What are your thoughts? And thank you for joining us today on rLounge. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to say regarding today's content, share that with us in the comments below.